We have connection, right? We're live. We're ready to rock. Chefs, what's the beef? Welcome to a special episode of the Chef Fit Show. A little bit different for you today. Very, very different, actually. We're going to get a bit more technical on you. Today, we've got the man, the myth, the legend that is Andy Whitaker. This is a man who is the black belt of banging and clanging, and we're going to get into what that actually means later on. What I want to do, though, with this training, obviously, you've seen guys talk about their stories, and yeah, this has worked, that has worked. I really want to get into making you guys understand why. Like, I want you to understand why, because the guy sitting across from me right now is someone who he's an absolute workhorse, like ungodly amounts of effort and work is being put in. And I want to dive into why, because if you understand how he's gone about this, that means you can do it as well. And that's absolutely gigantic. So Andy, nice one for jumping on, pal. Look at that. You know it. So what we'll do is I'll just jump onto my iPad and I'll share over. Like, Andy, my first thing with you, pal, is when we spoke in January, right? And I can remember the conversation on the phone.
Yeah.
And I remember you'd done a good few things to get your health sorted, to get the weight down, all of that. So just give us an idea, and anyone that's watching this, give us an idea of where you were at. Like, what was Andy Whitaker's lifestyle like before Chef Fit? What was your body like? What were all of these things like?
So, I've been in hospitality since I was like 16, pretty much. I'm 38 now. I spent the better part of 2/3 of my life, like, in that environment of working late and working stupid hours and stuff like that, eating late, not having breaks, and so on and so forth. And then sort of, I've probably been a chef now for 13 years or something like that.
Okay.
So obviously that just compounds an already bad set of habits and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
And things like that. So, like, I'd already sort of pre-Chef Fit, I'd already made the decision that, like, things were going to change and whatnot. And I was, at my heaviest, I was 23.5 stone at 6'4". So I was a unit. Do you know what I mean? I was a big fella to move around.
Yeah.
And then I got on it and I was like, right, blah, 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 blah. And I lost like 5.5 stone. Like, I changed everything. I gave up drinking, I gave up smoking and all the rest of it. And I got my weight down to sort of 17 stone 4. And then, because I'd lost so much weight so quickly, I ended up having an operation to have my gallbladder removed because I had gallstones, because your gallbladder still produces the same amount of all sorts of drastic weight loss. And I was into training and things like that, and I really enjoyed it. But I'd put on maybe 2.5 stone back of what I'd lost, and I could just see myself getting into that situation that, unless I nipped it in the bud now, it was just gonna creep up, and I'll be back in that situation of, I'll do something when I get to 20 stone, or I'll do something when I get to 20.5 stone, I'll do something when I get to 21 stone, and you never really just get to that point where you do something about it.
Like, what was called, like, if you think about that, when you're back to more, not back totally to square one, but more, you've gone backwards since that surgery and the excuses started to come in. Like, what was causing you to pile the weight back on? Like, what bad habits did you have? What was your big thing that was like, this is what I really struggle with, this is the thing that's causing my problems?
I got cocky, didn't I? I've lost 5.5 stone, me. If I wanted to do it, I can do it again. I got cocky. It's like, well, I can afford to have a little bit. Well, if I have a chippy, I'll just train a little bit more. And, well, I can have 2 chippies a week because it's fine. And, like, a bag of sweets is okay. Or I can have a biscuit with this and things like that. And you get cocky.
Yeah.
Well, I train a lot and I eat, like, pretty good meals most of the time. I can afford to have 1 or 2 bad meals. And all of a sudden, like, when you're thinking, I'm eating well 90% of the time and badly 10% of the time, all of a sudden you're eating well 75% of the time and 25% not the time. And then all of a sudden it's 50-50. And then you're right on that precipice then of eating like 1 good meal a day and 3 or 4
Sure.
terrible meals and picking and
Yeah.
all the rest of it that goes with it. Do you know what I mean? You just get like, well, I still train all the time, and you don't focus on what you're doing badly. You just focus on the bits that you're doing really well,
Yeah.
and then it overtakes a little bit. Like the bad stuff overtakes the good stuff.
Yeah.
So I just like, I mean, my reasons probably for getting to chef fit were probably massively different from other chefs. Like my life wasn't in the doldrums. I was working a lot of hours, but I wasn't like killing myself doing it. But
Yeah.
I knew that I've got 2 daughters, and if I kept on doing what I was doing and didn't get that kick up the ass to make me feel healthy and get back to being healthy, then it was only gonna get worse. So I kind of got on to nip it in the bud early, if you know what I mean. So I needed that kick up the ass to get back on the railroad tracks.
Like,
And
where were you? Like, if you actually think back to the phone conversation we had back in January, and like at that point in time, like, what was the thing that you're like, right? Were you thinking about that for a long time, or was the chef it just pop up for you and it was like, okay, right, like I'll give it a shot? Like, what was the time?
no, like I saw the thing on Facebook about Chef Fit, and a couple of days, 3 weeks later, or something like that, I sent off the message and whatnot, and you messaged me back saying, "Oh, like, give me a time to ring you and whatnot." And in between getting that message and actually getting round to ringing you and wondering whether I wanted to do it was about a month. Like it was, I think I got the message in November, and it was January, like before I almost plucked up the courage to message you and say, right, give me a ring on this day. And I remember the phone call. I remember telling you all the things I wanted to change.
Yeah.
I like even the stupid things, like I wanted to be able to put a pair of boxers on and the elastic not roll over at the top. I wanted to be able to like go and play out with my daughters and whatnot, and not have to sit down after an hour. And I wanted to form good eating habits and not just think it's okay to eat shit as long as I train harder and stuff like that. I remember all the conversations that we had, and that was kind of it. I needed that kick up the ass to get back to what I knew I could do, and I needed like my main reason was probably guidance rather than anything else. I needed guiding down the right path to put into place all the things that I knew I was able to achieve.
Yeah.
And sort of 4 or 5 months down the line now, kick his ass every day, don't I? So
yeah, big time. And I think if we paint this entire picture of where you were at, Andy, like you start off in this position where chef for many years and you build off bad food habits off the back of that. So it's like you got to the point where it was 23.5 stone and you'd had enough and you were sick of it. So obviously I know your mindset now, and I know you're a very all or nothing type of guy. So when you went at it alone, it was like, I'm going for this. You went extreme very early, and it worked in the short term. It worked. And it was like, well,
it was never sustainable. Like,
yeah, you lost the weight, but it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
You know, and as you said, like surgery as a result, and then obviously you go back. Once you have that setback and you don't have the habits built, boom, we're back to square one. And then the excuses start kicking in. And then you end up in this frame of mind where you take your foot off the gas and it's like, listen, I'm still training, I'm still doing this and that, but you're kind of drifting, and the nutrition wasn't on point, and you knew it wasn't. And again, it started to creep back in. And I think the moment for you, Andy, was like, obviously you have all of this stuff where, you know, you're having problems with clothes, and, you know, maybe it's not having the energy or the headspace with the kids, or, you know, understanding that down the line that the weight was going to be an issue for you, you know, in terms of longevity. So you needed to kick up the arse. And that was the moment you decided to make the jump, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, like I say, it wasn't an overnight decision. Like I say, I was not scared, but I was really sort of like
skeptical, 100%.
Yeah. I was skeptical. Like I was just like nervous almost. Like I said, like, do I want to, like, what if this guy thinks I'm a fucking whopper? Like, do you know what I mean? What if he thinks I'm a clown? What if he thinks I'm just fucking laughing and joking about it or whatever? Do you know what I mean? It was like, I was like, yeah, I really didn't want to make the phone call sort of thing. But then I thought, like, do you know what I mean? Like, in my head, I was like, if I don't make this phone call, I'm just going to carry on getting worse and whatnot. I'm like, and then it was just like a moment of clarity. Like, it was like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, I can do it for a month or 6 months or 12 months or whatever. And I'm either, if I don't lose any weight, if I don't get any better, then I've not lost anything. But at the end of 6 months, 12 months, I could be like 15 and a half, 16 stone, fucking bench pressing houses. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, generally what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just like a bit of like a moment of clarity that it needed to happen. Like,
big time. And you took that jump, and that's what I want to dive into now, into like what was the actual end results. Like, anyone that's watching this, you gain a full understanding that this is a cycle that many of you will go through. Do you know what I mean? Where your health gets in disrepair and you feel that maybe has an effect on your longevity, whether you've got family and your perspective is shifted and all of that stuff. And the time will come for you, And fortunately for you, Andy, you did make that jump and you did commit. And now we're here today. And I want to break down, first off, like, as we started down here, when you looked at that 6 to 12 month goal, it's like, I want to be over there. Oh, that's where I want to be. Like, as we set all of these goals, we know where we were here at A. I want you to tell me, Andy, as we've moved along the line, what's the result of you doing Chef Fit? Like, what changes have you seen in yourself?
Like,
long list.
Physically, so you all talking kilos and stuff like that, and that blows my mind. But I'm 2.5 stone down to what I was when I started I was like the 20th of January, something like that. So it was, what's that, 13, 14 kilos or something.
Even
like
at stones, pal. I don't mind stones.
2.5 stone. I'm 2.5 stone down, like, do you know what I mean, from what I was. Body fat, like, I know I'm probably 3 or 4% body fat down to what I was. I'm like, I can run a 5K. I took nearly 7 minutes off my average 5K time. Do you know what I mean? It took.
Just before you even move on from that, what are you running 5Ks in now?
Anywhere between, on a treadmill, I can do a 5K in 26 and a half minutes.
That's nearly 18 stone.
18 stone, yeah.
It's mental.
17 stone 13. I can run a 26-minute 5K on a treadmill. On a road, it's probably between 28 and 30 minutes on an actual road run.
Yeah. And what was it like when you started? Were you able to run 5Ks at the start?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, oddly enough, I've always had a bit of an ability to run. Like, I've probably been running for 12 months before Chef Fit. Anyway, obviously, I've told you the story about why I started running with a friend of mine, didn't I? So
yeah.
And so we were always doing it, but there was always that I was running on average 35, 36 minutes on a 5K, like, and I was gassed, absolutely, like, I was crawling around the corner, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I was absolutely gassed. And now I finish a 5K, and within a minute, 30 seconds of finishing, I've got my breath back, and I'm thinking to myself, I could go and do another 2 or 3K here. I could, you know what I mean? I could do so much more. But then on top of that, like, my lifting goals, like, I used to deadlift a little bit before, and I had like a 1 rep max at like 140 kilo.
Yeah.
And now, like, it's well documented in Chef Fit what my lifting's like at the minute. Like,
banging and clanging, pal.
Banging and clanging. Like, don't get me wrong. There's people in here can probably lift like your good self a lot heavier than me, but I've been doing it a lot longer than me. Like, but I can trap bar lift nearly 190 kilos. Do you know what I mean? And I can deadlift probably easily 150, 160 on a good day. Do you know what I mean? And I've only just started flat bar deadlifting again.
Yeah.
So, like, my strength's better, my endurance is better. Like, I did 11 rounds on the AMRAP on Monday. Do you know what I mean? Doing renegade rolls and things like that. And so there's honestly, like, you haven't got enough iPad to write the achievements down, my results down. There's not enough like white space on your board there. Do you know what I mean? To write down what I've achieved in the last 5
It's the tip of the iceberg. It's the tip of the iceberg.
It's not. That's it. Like I've got, and I say I've done all this now, and there's so much further to go, and it's only going to go as far as I want it to go. Like, do you know what I mean?
But that's the thing I want to ask you about. Because if you think about, like, right, this is what's happened physically. Yeah, this is what's happened physically. You had a big revelation last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When you were sitting, Andy does these savage live videos late at night. After he finishes work, he goes to the gym and he does a live video in the group, which I always get a good bit of crack out of. But there was one that was very, very on point with what this whole thing is about. And I think it was a massive turning point for you, because you turned the corner mentally, where your perspective changed, where it wasn't just about the weight anymore. So just tell me a small bit about that. Tell me what that mentality was like coming in, and then how did it start? How has it changed in the past month?
So coming into Chef Fit, I had the mindset of, oh well, I'm gonna eat really well. I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna lose a load of weight, and I'm gonna be 15 stone. I'm gonna be 14 and a half stones, felt like absolutely chiseled and all the rest of it. And then as time goes on, you realise that actually the weight loss isn't the main thing. It's got nothing to do with that. Like, I could be 14 stone and massively unfit. Yeah. And it suddenly occurred to me the other day that I'm lifting more than I've ever lived. I can run faster and further than I've ever done before. And then actually the weight loss is a complete byproduct to all of that. It's probably fourth or fifth down the list of things that are important to me now. I know that I'm physically probably in the best health of my life. I know that I eat better than I've ever ate before in my life. And I'm not just talking the last 8 or 10 years. I'm talking the last 38 years of my life. I've never ate as well, and probably never ate as much. That's what people don't understand. Like, it's not about starving yourself. It's not about seeing nutrition as a diet. It's about fueling your body to give you energy to train, which in turn gives you energy to get up in the morning and do a day's work. Okay. And then do it. Do you know what I mean? We talk all the time about it being a cycle and and one thing leading into another and whatnot, and keystones and hexstones and things like that, and all these building blocks that you have in your life to make everything works. Like, you know what I mean? If you take one away, then the pyramid or the whatever, it's not stable anymore. So if I eat well and I train well, I can work well. If I'm working well, my mental health's well, because I don't get stressed at work. I don't get stressed with the kids. Everything becomes easy.
Yeah.
And what do we call it? It's the new normal. It's the new normal, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And that's exactly what it is all the time, the new normal. You get up. Like my day, I get up, I do my mobility session in the morning and have a good stretch. And then I have a shower, I sort the kids out, take them to school, I have my breakfast, go to work, come home from work, I have a shower, I get changed, I go out to the gym or I go out running. And that's it. And that is literally that is my 7 days a week. Do you know what I mean? Well, I don't take them to school like 3 of them days, but that's how it is. And that's just how my life runs. Like, I don't get stressed because I know exactly what's going to happen from day to day. There's no surprises. Do you know what I mean? But then when something does come along that's a little bit unexpected, I've got the tools now to be able to deal with it.
Yeah. So, big time. And we just nailed that down on what you were talking about. Like, we always talk about this in Chef Fit, as you have keystones and you have hexstones. So like, here is Andy's keystone, which is what he's doing now. And here's his hex. What does that mean? Keystone means that Andy has built the habit of moving every day and exercising regularly. Yeah. because he's built this habit. Now he's got energy, he's got more motivation, he's got more focus. And as a result of having all of those things, what's the benefit? Fit, lean, positive, better performance in every other part of his life. You know what I mean? Whether that's in the kitchen, whether that's at home, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, better performance in every aspect of his life. Why? Because Andy, over time, because he was so consistent, Andy shifted his habits and he went away from the quick fix and just focusing on the weight necessarily. And he went towards, no, what I'm doing now is this is what I do on a daily basis. This is my process. It makes me feel good because I exercise. I've got the energy, I've got the motivation, I've got the focus, and everything good in my life happens. And over time, then you'll realize that that's the thing. It's like, I just need to do this every day and I'll reap the rewards instead of focusing on that destination, which I think you were doing at the start, Andy, right?
I thought if I wanted to be successful in Chef Fit, I needed to lose like 4 stone and be like a rippling 6-pack and have massive biceps and things like that. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like that 4, 5, it took me 13 years to look like a donut. Do you know what I mean? I can't
expect it to turn around.
13 years of bad habits to be untied in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can put into place good habits in 5-6 years time for now, then I'll probably be at a weight that I'm more happy with, and I'll be lifting even more now, and I'll be faster than I mean, if I can run a 5K in 26 minutes at 18 stone, what can I do 5 years from now if I'm 15 stone? Do you know what I mean? Like the goals now, like I can set myself goals year on year on year on year on year, and I know if I set myself a goal between now and 12 months time, I'll have done it in 6 months, because that's my mentality now. Like it's not about the weight loss, it's about how heavy can I lift, it's about how much can I squat, it's about how fast can I run, it's about how fit and healthy can I be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that is it. It's not. It's just what you do. Do you know what I mean? I say it all the time. It's like it's just what you do now. It's not. I don't have to think about anything. It's just what I do. I get up and I be healthy.
Big time. And it's like, with that in mind, it makes it incredibly difficult to go back to square one. Like it's not as if, like, think about when you lost the 5.5 stone initially. What happened? Yeah. It's like you had a setback and you're straight back into old ways. Where now you would struggle heavily to stop exercising daily. Like you'd
I couldn't not train on a daily basis. Like I wanted to go for a run last night on the way home from work, but it was absolutely lagging it down. Like I'd have been a drowned rat by the end of the driveway. And rather than just think, well, whatever, do you know what I mean? I'll just miss it today. I already made plans to make it up today. Like, so I'm going to take the girls swimming later for their swimming lessons. And rather than come home, like the wife's going to meet me there at the swimming baths. And then I'm going to go to my mate's house for a run straight after swimming so that I can still go to the gym tonight. So it's, adapt. We say it all the time again, adapt and overcome. So I will know that I'm going to get 4 cardio sessions in this week, plus a minimum of 3 lifting sessions in this week, plus 14 mobility sessions in this week, plus any other extra lifting sessions that I'm going to tag on to the end of me already, my workout sort of thing. It's, you know what I mean? It's just what it is. I say it's just the way that I see life now. I see life as I go to work to earn money, and I go to the gym to live as long as I can.
That's in a nutshell there. Do you know what I mean? That is literally the thing. And you're you're fighting for your longevity on a daily basis. And I think just trying to tie this all into a lesson in terms of the results that you've gotten, the reason that has happened is because you structured your lifestyle in a way that, you start to build habits around exercise and good food. And that becomes normal for you. The new normal is what we call it in Chef Fit. And the weight loss and the shape's a byproduct, do you know what I mean, of you being that consistent, because you got these habits built, whereas before the habits weren't there and it was just relying on motivation to show up and do it. And whether it worked or not, you either had to go really extreme and hate your life outside of that, or you grow to love it because you know the benefit. You know what I mean? You know the benefit. And that's where you've got
freedom.
Yeah, big time. Big time, man. Big time. So that's the result, and that's the lesson of the result. But we haven't talked about why. We haven't talked about how that was possible. So, like, Andy, for you, mate, trying the things that you've tried and then stepping in and getting the results in Chef Fit, what makes Chef Fit different for you?
Well, it's not, because it's not a one-man gang, is it? You do the work on your own, but there's 60 other chefs in here at the minute that every step of the way are there to put an arm around your shoulder, there to give you the pat on the back when you've done something good, there to lift you up. And like, we call it a tribe. It's tribe mentality, do you know what I mean? And we look after each other and we look out for each other, and the accountability is there. So, when you go out and you're like, if you're working on your own and you do something and there's no one to tell, do you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter if I achieve something great because no one's there to tell you about it. But like, if you post a video of you doing a massive lift, or the time that you've just smashed out a run on a treadmill, or like pictures of whatever, like your weight loss or your whatever, do you know what I mean? Like a pair of pants that all of a sudden don't fit you and things like that. And you've got 40 to 50 to 60 people like messaging you, telling you well done. Like, you know what I mean? If you're ever struggling with anything and whatnot, it's not just yourself that's there to say, well, do this, do that, why don't you try this, why don't you do that? I've got, there's probably 15, 20 people in this group that I speak to on a regular basis about all sorts, and we'll always comment on your pictures, and we'll always give you advice, and we'll always like tell you well done and things like that, and always say hello to you in a live video and stuff, and always watch my live videos. And like my live videos are like midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, do you know what I mean? And there's always someone there that's willing to jump on and say hello, do you know what I mean? And like in the last month and that, people have been saying like, oh, you're an inspiration to me and things like that. And it's just that you're swelled up with it all, do you know what I mean? And like, yeah, look what I'm doing, look what I'm achieving. And you want to then just, it motivates you to go forward and forward and forward and say, well, if they think it's good that I can do a 180 kilo deadlift, wait till I do a 190 kilo deadlift.
Totally.
Think, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's that support network and that accountability and everything. Like, it's like, I've never met anyone in Chef Fit at all. Never met them. Yeah, I feel like if I walked past them in the street, it'd be like we're best mates.
Yep, big time.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And when you have that family brotherhood feeling to what you're doing, and we're so close knit, and we all are in constant contact. Like it's every day. Like it's you think about how much, and I don't think I've ever seen anything else that has that amount of just like fucking, like it's my life anyway. You know what I mean? Like it's our lives. It's what we do every day outside work. This is what we do. And here's a question for you, Andy, that you probably haven't been asked before. Who do you see yourself as within Chef Fit? Like, who do you see yourself as within that group? You think about what the other guys look to you as.
That's a big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't know. Like, I mean, we always laugh and joke and whatnot, don't we? And stuff like that. Like, OBG calls himself the GOAT, and the greatest of all time. I think I'm I'm like the MVP, me. I'm
Yep.
not the best at everything, like, but I know I'm really good at a lot of things. Like, I'm not I'm not the strongest. I can't do chin-ups. I'm not the fastest. But overall performance, like, I reckon I do pretty damn well for myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, overall performance, I'm good. Like, I know, like, I was in the gym the other day and I got a phone call off Ben Wilkinson asking me about, like, his squats and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And I think, Christ, you're coming to me, like, for advice on gym work and stuff like that. That's well good. Like, so I think now I'm in that position where, because I've been so consistent and like, so I always say, like, I'm the most positive person. Like, I love giving positivity out and things like that. I think that people feed off that. People like Liam and Ben and, like, Alan's always there and whatnot, and he says, like, no, you're a good man and things like that. I think people look to me in that respect, like, as just to give them that little bit of the power of positivity and things. And, like, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I'm a
But
good.
no, here's the thing though. Here's why I asked that, because what I've just written down here is your identity within that group. So this is something that most people will not ever think about. When you have this kind of community and we all communicate every single day and we're all pushing towards the common goal, you start to adopt, through your actions and the results that you've gotten, you've started to adopt this identity of, I am the most valuable player in here. I'm trying, and it's not about beating anyone. It's just that you're pushing yourself to a point that now other people look to you as that inspiration. As a result, you're going to start building your habits and your routines based on who you think believe yourself to be. Because now when you're getting phone calls off Ben Wilkinson, now it's not just, Jesus, I'm an overweight chef. You know what I mean? I've tried this and that. Now you're like, no, I'm like, I need to fucking step up here. That makes it very difficult for you to go any other direction.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
a mad thing to think about. That's what happens in a tribe. It's like you have people who step up, and now all of a sudden you're a leader within the group and people look to you. But because people look to you, you know that. And because you know that, you're going to push yourself more and more and more and keep going, you know? So for anyone watching that, the tribe mentality, Jesus, the tribe is everything. The community is everything. The accountability and the coaching is everything. Because you don't have that, you're throwing shite at a wall and you're seeing what sticks, and it's you by yourself. Do you know what I mean? And everything that you've tried up to this point, Chef, has probably been just like, try a diet. Do you know what I mean? Try a gym membership, see what happens. Might go for a run. But there's nothing that ties it together. There's no glue that keeps the whole thing in place. And that's what Chef It is about. It's about giving you the structure and then tying it all together. You've got the little one running wild there, Mr. Whitaker.
Yeah. She's after a bit of something to eat, like.
So what I want to touch on next then with you, Andy, is like, if you think about what, like, you're coming to the end of your 6 months now, and in terms of like the money you put in terms of the time and the commitment that you made, like, I want to ask you, like, do you feel that this whole thing has been worth it for you?
Yeah, 100%. I could have paid double what I pay for Chef Fit with a personal trainer who's only going to give me advice when I'm stood in front of him in the gym, or only going to give me advice if I'm like, if I like pay him more money. And like, he doesn't care if I go home and eat a load of shit food, because when it comes down to it, it just means that I'm going to pay him more money for longer.
Yeah.
So so for what I've achieved in Chef Fit, I've lost, look, 2.5 stone isn't a massive amount of weight in the grand scheme of things, but everything else on top of that, like, I've got a band of brothers there that I never would have met, like, just speaking to some meathead in a gym. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was always pretty confident in a gym. I could find myself around the gym. I could walk around, and I could do this, that, and the other, and whatnot. But what tends to happen is, you get stuck in that cycle of, well, I don't really want to do that today, so I'll just do a little bit of this instead. Yeah, I don't really. Well, I'll just do bench press today. Oh, I'm a bit tired, so I'll just do 20 minutes, and I'll go and stand on I'll go and sit on the exercise bike for half an hour and whatnot, and then you start plateauing, and you don't know how to get out of a plateau, and the fact of the matter is, the reason you plateau is because you're not doing the work. You're not doing the work that you initially went in there to set out and do.
You did what you wanted as opposed to what you needed.
Exactly. 100%. And it's like, well, I'll do a bit of this, and I'll do a bit of that and whatnot. And then you wonder why it's not happening. And you think, oh, I train every day. Man, you train every day for 20 minutes, half an hour. Like, you know what I mean? And you're only training your arms because you want big arms, or you're only training this because you want that and the other and whatnot. So like nothing, like it stops, it plateaus. And then you think, well, I'm not getting results. I'm just not going to bother. You stop going to the gym. Oh, well, I may as well eat shit because, well, I've tried diet and all the rest of it. And when you realise that it's not a diet that you need to be on, it's a healthy habit around food and nutrition. Like the second you call it a diet, in my mind, a diet sort of says that it's like you're depriving yourself of something.
100%. 100%. It never works. Like, this is the thing, like for any chefs, like you think about, you know, you're trying it, like you'd obviously tried plenty of diets, Andy, and you'd had success with some of them, but it's like, you can only go so far relying on willpower and motivation. You can only go so long hating what you're doing. Yeah. I mean, with the diet before it kind of breaks down and then you go back to square one. Like that's a vicious cycle to be in. And I think if you ask yourself that question, it's like, what I did was worth it? It's like, I got the result, but it's what came with the result. It's like,
like again, like we said before, the results are a byproduct of everything else. Like I know that like Monday was my other day off this week. So on Monday, I went out and I bought a load of mints and I did a bolognese, and I knew so I know this week I'm eating bolognese for at least one meal a day is going to be bolognese. Last week I went out food preps. I got a load of mutton and I did mutton stroganoff. So I knew that all last week and bits of this week I'm going to be eating mutton stroganoff for at least one meal a week. I know what my breakfast is going to be every morning. I know what my evening meal is going to be every morning because I planned it. And then all of a sudden, what's the matter?
I wanted the dinosaur one.
That one. It's causing havoc. Hang on. Sorry. It's causing chaos.
That's all good. She's all right there, is she?
Do Dougie. What's going on here now? She's broke it. What have you done?
So chefs, when we think about that for a second, it's like when Andy's talking about these new habits that he's built and the fact that he wakes up and he knows what he's doing that day and he knows what he's going to eat that week. That's clarity. That's clarity. And that's what a lot of chefs lack. All right. That's what a lot of chefs lack. And the clarity comes from having structure. Yeah. The clarity comes from having structure. The clarity comes from having accountability. Because then the excuse starts to become less and less and less. Like Andy, as a result of all of these things, if we look at him today, he's leaner, he's stronger than he's ever been. He's more focused and motivated than he's ever been. He's got more energy than he's ever had. And he's fitter in terms of his cardio than he's ever been. It's like this all starts off with excellent habits, having clarity on what you're doing every day as a result of having structure in your life and as a result of having that accountability to stay on path and stay on track. And eventually you get those results, but they are the byproduct. As Andy was saying, that's the byproduct. Like, You know what I mean? If you just start off by focusing on this, I'm just going to lose a load of weight and I'm just going to get like stronger. That's what happens when you lose the weight. You know, what happens when you lose the weight? Like, Andy, what happened to you when you went in for that surgery?
Oh, like I obviously couldn't train for like 6 to 8 weeks or things like that. I couldn't even run. You know what I mean? I had to limit the amount of walking that I was doing and things like that. Even and I obviously couldn't work for. I mean, even still, I went back to work earlier than I should.
Yeah.
But it's just it was mentally taxing sort of thing, and I put on weight because your gallbladder breaks down the fats in your body sort of thing. So if you've got bad eating habits and you're eating a lot of fats, and then all of a sudden the bit of your body that isn't that breaks down fats isn't there anymore because you've taken it out, you put on weight, you put on body fat. And then my weight was just, I could just see it. It was like it was creeping up. It was creeping up. My pants were getting that little bit tighter. My t-shirts were getting that little bit less comfortable.
And think about that then. Like,
and that was it then.
When you got into that though, and that started happening to you, did you find it difficult to get back building the momentum that you had?
Yeah, because then all of a sudden, like, you don't move around the gym quite as easily as you did. And you know what I mean? When you go for a run, your knees hurt that little bit more and things like, and because you're not training, like you sort of feel a little bit sorry for yourself and whatnot. So then you start reaching for the comfort foods, don't you? And things like that. So then you put a bit more weight on and then you're a little bit less mobile and then you're a little bit more so when you do train and so on and so on and so on and so on. But to have Chef Fit and to have that tribe mentality, people saying it's all right that it hurts, it's supposed to hurt, but the more you do, the better you get at it, and then the more weight that you lose, and then all of a sudden you start forming good habits around exercise. And you know, we talk about adapting and overcoming and things like that. There's certain exercises that, like, I found at the beginning like incredibly difficult to do, and I've said all along I am not a natural squatter. I do not squat well, but I do it because I want to be better at it and I want to be good at it. So then you start thinking, right, what you know, like you start asking questions, you start asking them questions of other people. How do you do it? Like, is it, you know, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? Like, and yeah, sometimes you can be a bit like, you can overthink the situation and things like that. But to have a whole group of people that a lot of other people are in that same position, some people just, it's not a natural movement for some people. So to have that whole group of people that are in the same situation as you, it gives you that momentum then to go forward and carry on doing what you're doing. And even if you're doing it badly, someone will say, well done, but try this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Great effort, but why don't you try this? Great effort, take your shoes off. Do you know what I mean? Just them little nuggets of advice. You start forming like a really, really good confidence in the gym. And then all of a sudden your weight comes down. You become more mobile. You've got more energy. You want to train more. You eat well and so on and so on and so on. And then you get into a different loop then of good habits.
Big time. And I think, guys, for anyone watching this, it's like Andy was persistent. That's another big thing that I want to touch on before we move on. Persistence, like not giving up. And the way that you don't give up, obviously that requires you to have your head on a swivel and be switched on up here. But it also helps when you got people around you who don't accept that and don't let you give up and do want you to push better, and they will advise you and they will keep you accountable. And that whole picture paints who you are right now. You know what I mean? It really shows. And it's, for you guys watching this, you only see the surface. You don't really see, you're seeing the physical, but you don't really see what's actually transformed. Like, I know Andy from day one, and I've seen the change, and I've seen the difference in him and how consistent he's gotten and how much better he's gotten in every aspect of his life. Like, it all starts off with looking at the foundation of building your habits and having a good environment around you. And anything else after that, the diets, the quick fixes, it's like, it's all irrelevant at the end of the day. because this is the stuff that matters. So like bringing this whole thing into the harbor, Andy,
Yeah.
for any chefs that are sitting on the fence and they're probably in the same position that you were in, actually, in the exact same position that you were in. Bit skeptical, not too sure what the story is. Who is this lad with the mustache? What is this thing going to involve? Is this going to work? Am I going to waste my money? Am I going to, do you know what I mean? What happens if I fail? You know, all that doubt in a lot of chefs' minds when they're thinking about joining and they haven't really made the jump yet. For you being where you are now, what would you say to them?
I'd be like, you know what? Like you can waste 6 months of your life going and doing something else, going and seeing this, going and trying it out on your own and whatnot. Or you can have 6 months in Chef Fit where you work hard you work hard. There's no scientific, it's not like some mad scientific thing. It's not like it's simple. It's laid out and it's dead simple. Like you can try all these keto diets and you can try that and blah, blah, blah. And then it's not sustainable. You need to be in a place like I am and like the other 59, 60 members of this tribe are, where everything's so easy because it's so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can waste 6 months of your life doing something else, or you can give Chef Fit a go for 6 months and see how it like just benefits you. It's just you can't. It's not something you can readily put into words to explain how things are. Like it's just about. Isn't like I say? There's no scientific super diet. There's no all of a sudden like some super magic way of training that no one else has thought of. It's the bare bones basics of what you do. If you eat right, if you train often and you move every day, you will lose weight and you will be a better person for it. Full stop. There's no, it's not a magic drug. It's not a magic potion or anything like that. It's simple. It is dead obvious, dead bare bones simple. Get up, work hard, and you'll achieve anything that you want to achieve. Do you know what I mean? If I can't do a 200 kilo deadlift, that just means I can't do a 200 kilo deadlift today. 6 months from now, I can do a 200 kilo deadlift because I want to. Like, I say it all the time, it goes up because I want it to go up. Like, it's the most, I can't, the words aren't there, like, do you know what I mean? It's so obvious. Like, if you sit on the fence, you're going to fall off, full stop. That's the way to explain it. If you're going to sit on the fence and you don't know whether you should or you shouldn't, well, what's the worst you can do? What's the worst that can happen by giving it a go? Do you know what I mean? Do the 30-day program and see what you can achieve in 30 days and then times that by 6.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's how it goes. It's like, I would encourage absolutely anyone that's struggling, that wants to better their life, that wants to do more and to be a happier person, to do Chef Fit. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to be a better person? Lisa.
You want to be a better person and you want a better life. Don't call Ghostbusters. Do
Call Cameron Higgs.
Do you know what I mean? That's it. But Andy, I've got a gym membership and I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to try intermittent fasting and see how that goes. What do you say to people like that?
Well, try it. And then when that doesn't work, call Cameron.
Oh, classic. Absolutely classic. So like that's chefs, that is Andy's journey, and that is what has worked and why it's worked and his advice to you. Like, again, the videos probably don't do it justice on what the transformation has been for someone like him. As we said, like he came in looking for weight loss, and now he's talking about how he's a better person and his life is in a much better place and he's so much more positive. It's like, you need to understand that. Scratch below the surface. We're not about quick fixes. I'm about doing basics well. I'm about making you enjoy the process. I'm about getting you to dig in deep and actually become something more and get you to stop making the excuses and overcome those barriers. So if that's what you want to do, Chef, let's do it. Do you know what I mean?
Excuses are easy.
Yeah, 100%.
Excuses are easy. Doing the work's the hard part. If you can do the work well, you will never find excuses to not do the work, because
Exactly.
you will benefit every single time.
Yeah.
No one ever benefits from avoiding doing the work.
Big time. And that's what it's about. And that's the thing. This isn't like you have to get out of your mind of looking for the path of least resistance. You're looking for what way can I skirt around? But there is no skirting around it. The obstacle is the way. That's the prize. To get into that, go to the obstacle, overcome it, boom, get the benefits. And it's like, and he's the example of that. He is the example of that. It's not easy. You know what I mean? No one says it's easy. But again, nothing good in your life is going to come easy. You have to do the work. So, Andy, you're a champ. Thanks a million for jumping on. Chefs, if you want to join the Chef Fit Elite, you can message me. I'll pop a link below if you want to apply to join us. If you are serious about changing your life, then to be honest, in my mind, it's Chef Fit or die. Because I don't think you're
the best thing you're ever gonna do.
You know?
Best thing you're ever gonna do.
Yeah. I don't think you'll be nearly as successful doing something else. And I don't say that because I'm being a dick. I'm saying that because that's what I know to be true. That's what I know to be true. And these guys that I bring onto this show, they are the proof. They are the living proof of it. So with that in mind, Mr. Whitaker, stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day off, bro. Okay. Chefs, thank you for watching. I hope this is an informative one for you. We are out of here. Peace.